seen this kid walking on the street. I was like, wait.
Bumped into this kid I knew, he often it walked strange. So I ignored the blood on his laces so this cat could save face. The dunks and the gaze stayed in a off gray haze, and a lump in his pocket talked to the ox that he clutched safe. So I saluted him there, waiting for the A. Trapped in an empty platform without the option to escape. Gave him a stand and yo, what up man, how you landing? And the hypnotized response was no surprise.
I maintain.
Yeah, we all do, that's a standardized refrain, but on some really real, man, good to see you. Really, what the dilly did? Oops, thought screwed the boot, just too much, knew the truth. On the train now, ain't caboose, in his brain now, no recluse. 80 blocks to uptown spot, destination vocal booth. Metro card like,
you get what you pay for, stupid.
no excuse. He pulled his hoodie off his cabbage, rugged practical, and began to fancy the words I mistakenly jostled loose. The stogie he brazenly lit where he sit looked legit, but when the plane touched on the tip, I could smell it.
In the background, I Sleep When You're Dead. 4 years in the making. I'm reading this straight out of Pace Magazine. 4 years in the making. Comeback statement from former company Flow. Mastermind, worth the wait. And you tell me how this sounds, LP. Hip-hop suffered greatly during the New York-based rapper, producer, label, impresario LP's 4 years self-imposed hiatus from the game. Comeback albums, endless obsession with keeping it real, and artists extolling the virtues of swapping the cocaine trade for hip-hop's curbside entrepreneurship represent what now pathetically passes for dope. Picking up where he left off on 2002's Fantastic Damage, LP's latest transmission from the front line is a Aunt Jemima thick, front to back, instant classic, welding the sort of noise the Bomb Squad once specialized in to the precision-crafted rhyme schemes that made his former crew, Company Flow, so special. The best hip-hop release of 2007, and you know what? Nobody's even close. And I bring to you, in the tradition of Motown, Stax, Atlantic, Blue Note, and the labels I like now, Stones Throws, Nature Sounds, Ubiquity, but Definitive Jux.
Thank you, sir.
Impresario. LP in the house. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
All right, earlier I was just talking to Jason Tanz, the author of the book Other People's Property. I told him that you was a Chet Baker of hip hop. We was talking about, other people's property, the shadow history of hip hop in white America. That stuff doesn't mean anything when it comes down to a person doing music, and doing music from the heart.
Yeah.
A person doesn't look at a person, whether they're black or white or whatever, if they're good. But you got to be good.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the scene that I came up in. I was born and raised in New York City, and the hip hop scene that I came up in, that was the only requirement.
There was a standard.
It was trial by fire. Yeah, but I mean, you had a few. It was like, it didn't matter what you looked like when you opened your mouth on stage. When we were coming up in our scene, and the first two bars, you were gonna get booed if you weren't, the illest cat on the planet.
And sometimes getting booed is cool because you have to fight your way up out of that.
It was great. It was great because I remember when the boos stopped. I distinctly remember when the boos stopped.
Well, then you thought everybody was quickly jocking just for the jock's sake or whatever?
Nah. Because this is like before records were out. This is like when I was in the whole, early to mid '90s underground scene and just battling and coming up in that whole scene and coming up in New York City, playing places like New Yorican Poets Cafe and Wetlands and all those places, and before we really had a record out, and it was just a whole scene. A lot of it rotated around Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito.
Right.
Those cats really were the glue for the whole culture that I came up in. And a lot of us to this day, a lot of cats that are well known to this day, came right out of that.
Do you feel a lot of people are taking shortcuts or basically shortcuts is the way of the walk now?
I mean, yeah. What do you want me to say? Yeah.
Well, Nas says hip hop is dead. I look at that as being a situation my analogy when people ask me, I say, well, if 85% of the messages in the mainstream are going to reflect the message of death, then it's going to be dead, but it's still going to keep moving like Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I mean, see, I didn't take Nas's statement as that. The way that I looked at it is I looked at Nas's statement as simply
just
a standard, a question. You know what I mean? I kind of look at it like this, and I've spoken to people about it. It's like, look, Nas has earned the right to have that discussion with his family members. It's like, you got the family member that's a fiend. You got the one family member that's just a drug addict. And when the family gets together and they have dinner, they can talk very frankly about the family member's problem because they love that person. Because it's been established. If I say, yo, Uncle Steve is a crackhead, I can say Uncle Steve is a crackhead because I love Uncle Steve. And that's the dialogue I see with Hip Hop is Dead. You know what I mean? It's like, I love it. So.
You got the word dead in your title. Explain where that works.
Well, it's a little bit less direct. I mean, the whole I'll sleep in your dead thing to a degree was kind of what I had imagined New York City whispering into my ear a few times. And I guess it was a play off the whole city that never sleeps thing, and I think that it's easy to get lost in a spiraling madness that is this town, and love it or hate it. I mean, I love it and hate it. It's where I grew up, and I take a lot of inspiration from it. But there are times when I feel like I'm running for my life here, and that was just a moment. So I just kind of tried to capture it.
Tell us about Trent Reznor.
Trent is an ill cat, man. I mean, I've been a big fan of what he does for a long time.
He get any sleep? Does he sleep?
I have no idea. My guess is probably no.
Okay.
Because the amount of work that he does. But I found out that he was playing company flow songs before his shows. And I was like, really? Wow. I'm a big fan of this cat. And all of a sudden, somehow, he was contacting me. He was emailing me. And at first, I didn't even think it was really him. I was like, all right, which one of my friends is pretending to be Trent Reznor? And it did turn out to be him. And he asked me to do a remix for him for the last 9 Inch Nails album, and which I did. And then I met him a bunch of times, and we hung out at a couple of his shows or whatever. And we stayed in touch. And when it came time for my record, he was really kind enough to return the favor. I was like, man, you got to jump into my world. So he did, which I was real surprised at, because when you're at that level, you can afford to be a basically not the coolest person in the world, and he is.
Yeah, but it all comes back to bite you anyway.
No, I know, and I think some people karmically act accordingly. This dude is a very cool person, and he did,
Do you think today MCs, producers, they listen to each other really? Because I hear a lot of times people say, well, I don't know, I'm trying to go with what's hot, but I don't think a lot of MCs really listen to each other, or they don't go beyond what's delivered to them. They don't really go, beat digging for producers used to be a mainstay. Now Serato gives you like 20,000 joints, and and MCs only go as far as who they think is successful before they think they could pick up a vibe.
Yeah, I think there's more beat biting and less listening and more biting. I think
it was always biting, but
but it was more. You had to be skilled at it because you were trying to hide it. Now it's like people don't even understand the concept of that it's shameful anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Oh, biting. What do you mean biting? I'm just doing the hot rhyme style. I'm just making the hot style of beat. To me, it's. I grew up like being raised and weaned in the hip hop culture by like graffiti artists and b-boys and cats who were like putting me up on it. Like, you don't have your own style, you're a toy. If you sound like the next cat, you're a toy. You can be influenced by it, you can reference, you can appreciate other cats, but you have to have your own thing, or else you're just not anything worthwhile.
Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring you back just for a couple minutes and get the website, how everybody could get the record. Ooh. We'll return with LP, Mr. In the House. You'll sleep when you're dead. Air America Radio, Chuck D, on the real, off the record.
When alive, wire lights, little metal rail right. Where a marvel of engineering steer me clear into the plight. Right before the bodegas open, after the peak of night, before the papers delivered, I sat on the corner and sparked the light. The same corner I perched when I zone dropped on a block burst. At almost 5 o'clock, watching for sunspots and store clerks. A lone spot was kinda like the zone was forgot, as if the grid had been reset and couldn't catch to the clock, or the stoop was stuck in the past a half minute, and I sat in it with a Lucy Noopy drift out of my lips, taste half minute. Come on.
Bring me the dramatic intro machine.
We got it now. It's all right. Mag's coming at you. Hold on, people. Hope you got your ribbons.
Had to wait till the beat kicked in. My man LP. All right. Talking to Mr. LP. Album he passed along to me. I'll Sleep When You're Dead.
Yeah, man.
Okay, it just came out on its way out.
Gentle little album that I'm releasing now. Yeah, it's coming out on March 20th. Stores everywhere.
You don't share some of the same opinions that they're crying about as far as the record industry being dead, because you're a person that's understood the transition, and you understand that the music business is healthy and the record business is shaky, but you're a musician with music and you good.
That's what I'm saying. Let it burn, man. Let it burn. Bring it down. I don't, because it's about it's about good records, man. The good records will never play out. Good records will never be something you can't sell or figure out how to make a career out of. This problem is that there just really aren't a lot of good records. It makes the whole quote unquote fall really easy.
What's your what's your take on performers? What should performers do? Because you with your label, Definitive Jux, your artists just don't make records. They perform quite well and they sweat on stage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think it's a big part of it. You know what performers should do, and we were just talking about this incidentally, is the one thing that seems like no one wants to do is rehearse a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think that really just draws a line between some kid. Are you some kid who gets up on stage and holds a mic and tries to rap, or are you a performer? And if you rehearse, then you could be a performer.
And you know what? And earlier today, I was checking out a DVD I had on James Brown, and when I saw the show and so many things that they were doing in the show, it's impossible to do what he was doing without rehearsal.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm rehearsing. I got my first New York show on the 20th at Bowery Ballroom. No, 22nd at Bowery Ballroom, and I'm rehearsing 9 hours a day until then.
Wow.
So I mean, but now I'm rehearsing for my whole tour. But I'm just saying, cats are serious about it because we don't we respect the fact that people are coming out and spending their little their dollars on us.
Mm-hmm.
Man. It's not something that we take for granted. So we're not going to waste people's time. We're going to try and do the best we can for them.
Compliments and kudos to you, of course, as always. Where people could get in touch with most of the Def Jux.
You can go to www.definitivejux.net, or if you want to go to my MySpace, you could always go to myspace.com/elproducto. And there's all the information will be there.
Thank you, LP. And I'll be catching up with you throughout the year, and also 2008, guaranteed. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Chuck.
5 or 6 joints.
All right. Perfect.
We got it. All right. You can be my Trent Reznor.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. As we go from New York City, we start off tonight.
Smoking water and that troubled us a lot. Now we're marking down our prices and they're really, really hot.
You wanna get on some fly, get on some butterfly to the fire. I wanna sell you the dream. I wanna watch you come apart.
Look out. LP. You don't stop. Get with it. Look out.
Part of an altar boy molested in confession who plotted for 20 years and slipped
P
the
in the
throat of a
house, y'all.
reverend. And half of this thought is young vandal, the system contraption of creative drip sick.
Air America.
I'm grabbing my dick again, foot on the wall, hose down. I'm drinking that piss again.
Radio.
Lost screener system, ninja starter cassette.
You don't stop. LP, you don't stop. Don't let it get started up in here. That's right, LP. New album out March 20th.
Yeah.
That's right.
5 years in the making, man.
Now, you don't strike anybody as being a guy that take hiatus, and that's why everyone was so shocked.
I wasn't taking really. I was involved with so much stuff, man. I was doing film scores and jazz albums and producing other people's albums for my label, and I was doing a bunch of remix work for Beck and Trent Reznor and Mars Volta and you know, just I had a lot of opportunities thrown my way, and I'm a workaholic, but I did take too long to make my own record. I will
There's no such thing as too long, partner. First of all, man, you know, I got to ask you a question. You know, of course, everybody was company flow. You know, group or solo, which is the thing that strikes your heart the best?
You know,
you got the Perceptionist.
I loved the company flow days and everything, but solo all day, forever. All day long. I mean, look, man, you know, the group was great until you're in Germany for 2 months in the winter.
Oh, you can't do that.
You know, and that basically was like, it's over. We came back from that and was like, okay, here's the deal. This was wonderful, fellas. It's really going well. Don't ever talk to me again. Don't ever.
Wow.
And you know, of course, we ended up talking again, but there's nothing worse than being trapped in a van with and slowly starting to hate everybody around you.
I know. You know, 20th year for me, I always made up in my mind. You know, we have rules: 14 days. After day 12, people start looking different. we got two in the wake. We call it 2 in the wake up. It's like 2 more days to go and a wake up call, and I don't know you. Yeah. But anyway, so I like to say, everybody, you know, I'll be calling in, but the show will continue on. We're gonna go out with a record from your album, LP.
Cool, man. Well,
Introduce it. Be a radio jock for a second.
This song is called Habeas Corpses, and it's a love song.
And say good night to everybody out there.
Good night, everybody out there.
Two types of people in this world to recognize. Conquered in the one hold and the rifle the next in line. The crosshair in my eyes, a vessel to guard. The container that kept you around in a hole in the yard. Sailor cemetery.